Hello, welcome to Current News. I'm your host, Chris Davis, and today I'm going to do a movie review of Thor Ragnarok. So, before I get into the movie review, here is a spoiler warning. If you have not seen the film and you don't like spoilers, please click off this video and go watch the film and come back. But if you don't care for spoilers or if you've already seen the film, please continue to watch this video. With that said, let's get into the review. Thor Ragnarok. This film is great. It deserves all the good reviews that has gotten. Um, it's an amazing film. You all definitely should go see it right now whenever you get the chance. I certainly loved it. People say it's a comedy, and it has more funny parts to it, but I say that this is still an action film. So let's just get into the plot. So the film starts out with Thor in a cage. He's in Surtur's dungeon talking to a skeleton. The cage opens, and before he can hit the ground, he's caught up in a chain, and he's right in front of Surtur. So in this first scene, you can tell that this film's going to be more towards the humorous side, and it was kind of a double-edged sword. It was good, but then it was bad. Particularly in this scene when Thor's talking to Surtur. He's kind of being kind of humorous. He's kind of twisting around, and when his back is turned to Surtur, he tells him, "Hey, wait a moment. Let me come around before you start talking." They've really tried to make this a funny scene, and yeah, from this first scene you can tell that it's going to be a little more towards the funny side, and to me that was okay. But when it comes to Surtur, or the main antagonist, I prefer that it wouldn't be funny. I prefer that it let that moment sink in. For those of you who aren't big Marvel fans, or you don't know, Surtur is supposed to be this fire, brimstone, almost devilish character. And during this first scene, I would have preferred the presence of Surtur and who he was, like, to sink in, kind of scare us a bit, rather than them trying to be funny. It almost put Surtur or even Thor out of character, trying to make it light of the scene. But Thor was there because he's been having visions. If you saw Avengers 2 Age of Ultron, he was having visions of Asgard's destruction. So he went to Surtur's dungeon to prevent this from happening, because Surtur is supposed to bring on Ragnarok, the end of Asgard. Surtur reveals to Thor that his power comes from the crown he wears. So Thor knocks off the crown, takes down Surtur, ties the crown on his back, leaves Surtur's realm, and is back on Asgard. So when he goes to Asgard, he realizes that Heimdall isn't there anymore. He went AWOL, or maybe he foresaw the destruction of Asgard, which I will talk about when I get later on in the review. Anyway, he goes to the palace. He finds Loki there. Loki is disguised as Odin. Thor gets him to reveal himself, and he asks Loki where. What have you done with our father? Loki is mad at Scourge because Scourge is supposed to tell him when Thor returns to Asgard. For those of you who don't know, for those of you who haven't seen the film, Scourge is the one who's doing Heimdall's job, opening and closing the Bifrost. And so he was supposed to tell Loki when Thor returned, but he didn't because Thor was a little too quick for him. So Thor and Loki go to Earth because that's where Loki has taken Odin. And when they reach Earth, Doctor Strange takes away Loki and leaves a note to Thor on where to find him and Loki. So Thor goes to Doctor Strange's mansion. Doctor Strange looks like he has picked up the Sorcerer Supreme thing, teleporting everywhere, refilling beer with magic, opening magical gateways. He's just showing that he's really gotten the hang of this. So Thor tells him, if you show me where Odin is, take me to Odin, we'll go back to Asgard, and we won't cause any problems. So Doctor Strange brings back Loki, opens a portal to Norway where Odin is, and they go through that portal. Odin gives them this speech saying that he's going away, and when he does, their big sister Hela, the goddess of death, will reappear. She will appear and wreak havoc, and he's basically saying that's their problem now. He's on a different path. He disappears or he dies to go be with his wife Frida. When he goes away, Hela appears. And like Hela says, kneel. Thor basically says, no way. Throws his hammer at her. She catches it. She smashes it. Loki, terrified, asks Scourge to bring them back to Asgard. Big mistake because Hela draws all her power from Asgard. So they're in the Bifrost portal, or the stream of Bifrost. And Hela knocks both of them out of the stream, and she appears on Asgard. She makes Scourge her stooge, and she conquers Asgard. Like, she's taking out all of Thor's friends. She takes out the army of Asgard without even breaking a sweat. Well, she gets stabbed once or twice, but she defeats them pretty easily. And basically, she tells them that she's in charge, that these people really don't know their history. It's been whitewashed. It has been. Heimdall is secretly making a refugee camp for the survivors from Hela, while Hela is ruling Asgard and trying to make her plans to leave Asgard to conquer other realms. Thor and Loki are on a backwater planet called Sakaar. Thor arrives in Sakaar in a garbage dump. He's captured by this bounty hunter who was a former Asgardian. She was a part of the Valkyrie until Hela had taken out all the Valkyrie but her, and so she wanted to forget about it. But anyway, she captures Thor and brings him to the Grand Master, so the Grand Master can use him as entertainment to entertain his citizens. Jeff Goldblum does an excellent job as the Grand Master. Did a really great job portraying the character as he was. But anyway, he tells Thor that he's not free, and if he wants to be free, then he has to beat his champion. And then Thor's like, okay, so take me to your champion so I can beat him and get off this rock. He finds Loki there. He realizes that he's been there for a long time. Loki has gained favor with the Grandmaster, and Loki is not helping Thor to escape. Loki's being Loki, double-crossing, like, traitor. He's being that right now. Anyway, Thor gets ready to fight the champion, but he figures out the champion is his friend Hulk. And Thor recognizes Hulk, but Hulk can't recognize Thor. I would have liked for Hulk to recognize Thor. They've been in 2 films together, Avengers Avengers 2 Age of Ultron, so you would think that Hulk would be able to recognize him. Maybe Hulk wasn't able to recognize Thor because Thor had his hair cut, he didn't have a hammer, so maybe Hulk couldn't recognize him. Hulk is still a simple-minded monster. But I would have liked it. I would have liked it if Hulk was able to recognize Thor, but he wasn't because Thor didn't have the hair or the hammer anymore. So maybe Hulk couldn't tell the difference. Hulk is simple-minded. So they fight. Thor accesses the Odin Force, defeats Hulk, but he doesn't win because Jeff Goldblum, or the Grandmaster, stuns him with the obedience chip, and then Hulk wins. But basically, if you see the fight, Thor is clearly the winner. Anyway, next time Thor comes to, he's in Hulk's room. Thor's able to persuade Hulk and the Valkyrie to help him escape Asgard, to help him escape Sakaar, to go to Asgard to fight Hela. Loki is part of the plan, but he tries to double cross people, as predictable. So he gets left on Sakaar until he finds a ship. Until he's able to find a ship to get off Sakaar and go to Asgard. So anyway, Thor tries to fight Hela. Hela's beating him up. He accesses the Odin Force again. Still can't beat her. I kind of didn't like that part. I thought that when Thor accesses like the Odin Force, he should be able to overcome Hela. But anyway, he still can't. And Thor realizes that he can't beat her by punching her. Like, the really only way to defeat her is to bring on Ragnarok. So he tells Loki to get Surtur's crown and put it into the internal flame. When he does, Surtur is reborn. Surtur destroys Hela and all of Asgard. The remaining survivors of Asgard are put on the ship that Loki brought, and they all plan to head to Earth until a ship looking of the resemblance of Thanos appears. So we won't know what really happens to the rest of the Asgardians until maybe Avengers Infinity War. So that's the movie. That's everything that happened. I have to mention some of the actors and actresses. Cate Blanchett did an amazing job as the main antagonist in this film. Really did a wonderful job as Marvel's first main female villain. So she did a great job. Cate Blanchett is a phenomenal actress. She really portrayed the goddess of death very well. Chris Hemsworth was more Chris Hemsworth in this film. This film was a little more lighthearted, a little bit more funny. I said it's a double-edged sword. It was. They really were trying to be more funny to change up the film, to make it a little bit more different from the others. But they still kept it as an action film. It's still an action film. Even though it has some funny parts to it, it's still mainly action, which I like. Which is what I want to see in a superhero film, especially one from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, I really enjoyed this film. I'm definitely going to watch it a second time just to maybe look at some things that I missed, that I overlooked. Sometimes you don't catch everything the first time. My expectations for like future films, maybe we'll see Hela again in Avengers Infinity War. When she perished, we didn't actually see her body. So Maybe she'll be in Avengers Infinity War. Because in the comics, Thanos has this obsession or this attraction to the goddess of death or Lady Death. So I think that Hela will be back in Avengers Infinity War. That's not certain. That's not like destiny. It's something that's highly probable. But that's all we have for today. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you like Thor Ragnarok? Have you seen it? Also, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And all of you, have a great day.